Have you ever noticed that getting what you want is never enough? That right after achieving something, a new lack appears? That the feeling of joy is short-lived and the emptiness comes back quickly? It's not your fault. It's not lack of effort. It's not that you're doing it wrong. It's the way life works. And Schopenhauer, a 19th century German philosopher, spent years thinking about this. He came to a conclusion that's hard to swallow. We weren't made to be happy. We were made to keep wanting, to never stop, to always seek more. And everything you feel, everything you want, everything you chase, is fitted into this invisible structure that keeps you eternally dissatisfied. Desire doesn't ask permission to arrive. It simply appears in your head. You wake up in the morning and already want something. You didn't choose to feel hungry. You didn't decide to be thirsty. You didn't tell your body to feel attracted to someone or to feel afraid of something. These things arrive on their own, without warning. And then you act. You chase. You strive. You fight. And you think you're in control of the situation. But you're not. The desire arrived before you thought about it. It moves you, not the other way around. It's as if something inside you is in command, and you just obey without questioning. And what's most disturbing is that you can't even trace the exact moment when the desire was born. It was simply there, as if it had always been there, waiting, watching. And then, in some random second, it jumps to the center of your attention and completely dominates you. You could be in the middle of a meeting and suddenly feel the urge to be somewhere else. You could be alone and suddenly feel an urgent need to talk to someone. You could be at peace and suddenly feel a restlessness you can't explain. Desire doesn't follow logic. It doesn't respect context. It doesn't wait for the right moment. It simply appears and demands attention. And you give it. You always give it. Think about this for real. When was the last time you consciously decided to feel hungry? When was the last time you chose to feel attracted to someone? When was the last time you actually planned to feel the urge to buy something? Never. These things emerge. They appear like waves that invade the beach of your consciousness without asking permission. And then you find yourself running after them, thinking you're the one making the decision. But the decision has already been made. You're just obeying something that came from a place deeper than your reason can reach. How many times have you felt the urge to eat something sweet out of nowhere? How many times did that urge to talk to someone hit you with no clear reason? How many times did you catch yourself wanting to buy something you didn't even need? The desire emerges and you go after it. And only afterward do you invent a reason. You say you're eating sweets because you deserve it, that you're buying that because you need it, that you're calling that person because you have something important to say. But the reason came later. The desire came first. It caught you, captured you, and you didn't even notice. It's strange to realize this. It's strange to look at your own choices and see that maybe they're not so much yours after all. It's strange to feel that you're being moved by something you don't fully understand, something you don't control, something that simply uses you to keep existing. And Schopenhauer looked at this without romanticism. He saw that desire doesn't belong to you. You belong to desire. You're the instrument. Desire is the musician. And the music never stops. Schopenhauer called this the will. But it's not the will to make a conscious choice. It's the will as a blind force that wants only one thing: to keep existing. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't want to know if you're tired, sad, confused, or lost. It just wants to keep going. And it uses you for that. You're the vehicle. The will is the driver. And it never stops driving. It never parks. It never rests. It just accelerates, turns, brakes, and accelerates again. And you're inside this car without ever being able to really take the wheel. This will isn't something mystical. It's not something supernatural. It's just the blind force of life wanting to continue. It's the same force that makes a plant grow toward the sun. It's the same force that makes an animal hunt when it's hungry. It's the same force that makes your heart beat without you commanding it. It's life moving through you. And it has no consciousness, no clear purpose, no master plan. It just wants to continue. And it uses everything it can for that, including you. including your dreams, your fears, your hopes, your pains. And this force is as ancient as life itself. It was here billions of years before you were born. It will be here billions of years after you die. You're just a temporary manifestation of it, a channel through which it expresses itself for a few decades. And when you die, it simply finds another channel, another body, another form. The will never dies. Only its individual expressions die. And that means you're not special to it. You're not unique. You're just another instrument in an infinite symphony of disposable instruments. And realizing this is devastating because you want to believe your life has special meaning, that your desires are unique, that you matter in some fundamental way. But to the will, you're replaceable, you're temporary, you're just another vehicle it uses and discards when it no longer serves. This changes everything. It changes how you understand your own choices. It changes how you see your goals. It changes how you look at your life. Because if desire isn't yours, if it just passes through you, then what is really yours? What's left of you when you take away desire? The answer is difficult, and Schopenhauer doesn't hide it. He says, almost nothing is left. Take away desire, and you're just an empty body breathing. Take away the will, and you stop functioning. You're made of it. You are it. And thinking you're free, that you decide, that you choose, is just a comforting illusion that helps you keep playing the game. Now think about how many times you wanted something strongly. You spent months thinking about it. You worked hard. You saved money. You made plans. You waited. You daydreamed about it. You imagined what it would be like when you finally got it. And when you finally got it, you felt a joy that didn't last long. A few days maybe, a few weeks if you're lucky. And then, the emptiness returned, as if what you wanted so much wasn't exactly what you expected. Or worse, as if it wasn't enough, as if something you can't name was still missing. It's not your fault. It's because desire doesn't come from conscious thought. It comes from a deeper, darker, more primitive place. And when you try to explain why you want something, you're actually inventing a story to justify what has already been decided deep down. The brain creates pretty reasons, constructs elaborate narratives, makes you believe you have a clear purpose. But the desire was already there, moving you before any reason appeared. Reason is just the clothing you dress desire in to make it look respectable, to make it look like yours. Think about how many times you bought something and only afterward justified why you needed it. Think about how many times you started a relationship and only afterward invented why that person was perfect. Think about how many times you made a decision and only afterward created arguments to show it was rational. The justification comes later. The choice comes first. And the choice doesn't come from you. It comes from something deeper, older, stronger. This messes up everything we believe about freedom. We grow up hearing that we're free, that we choose what we want, that we have control over our lives, that we're masters of our destiny. The entire society is built on this idea. You're responsible for your choices. You're free to decide. You're the author of your story. But the truth, according to Schopenhauer, is different. The truth is that desire chooses for you. And what you call I is just a voice trying to make sense of what has already been set in motion. You don't decide to be hungry. You don't decide to fall in love. You don't decide to feel anger or envy. These things happen, and you chase after them thinking it was your idea. But it wasn't. And this is disturbing, because it means you're not as free as you think. It means most of your decisions have already been made before you realize it. It means you're dancing a dance that was choreographed by something you don't control. And calling this freedom is deception. It's a comforting lie. It's a necessary illusion, so you'll keep moving, keep trying, keep playing the game of life without giving up. And society constantly reinforces this illusion. They tell you that you can be whatever you want, that you just need to work hard, that your dreams are within reach, that you're the captain of your ship. But these are stories we tell to keep the system functioning. Because if everyone realized they don't really control anything, that they're being moved by blind forces, that freedom is a fantasy, what would happen? People would stop trying. They'd stop working. They'd stop playing the game. And the system can't allow that. So it keeps the illusion alive. It gives you examples of people who succeeded, stories of overcoming, success narratives, all to make you believe you're in control, that you can change your destiny. But deep down, you're just following the impulses that the will planted in you and calling that choice. And there's more. Suffering isn't an accident. It's not a mistake of the universe. It's not something that only happens to unlucky people. Suffering is the fuel of life. Without feeling lack, you don't act. Without pain, you don't move. Without discomfort, you don't leave your place. The will uses discomfort to keep you alive. If you were always satisfied, you wouldn't do anything. You'd stay still, quiet, at peace. And life doesn't accept that. Life needs you to move, so it makes you feel lack. It makes you feel pain. It pushes you forward always. And you call this living. You call this being motivated. You call this having goals. But deep down, it's just pain pushing you away from itself. Schopenhauer doesn't romanticize this truth. He doesn't say suffering is beautiful. He doesn't say it makes you grow. He doesn't say it has a higher purpose. He just says life is suffering. Not because something went wrong, not because you made bad choices, but because that's how it works from the beginning. You feel hunger to eat. You feel thirst to drink. You feel loneliness to seek company. You feel fear to escape danger. Pain is the signal that you're still functioning, that the machine is still on. And when you achieve what you wanted, the pain doesn't disappear. It just changes form. It just looks for another place to hurt. It's creative like that. It always finds a new disguise. And the worst part is that we normalize this. We accept it as if it were normal to feel this constant dissatisfaction. We even celebrate it. We call it ambition, the will to grow, the search for more. We transform suffering into virtue. And maybe it's necessary to do this. Maybe it's the only way to keep living without going crazy. But it doesn't change the fact that it's suffering. It's pain disguised as motivation. It's lack disguised as a goal. It's emptiness disguised as a dream. The cycle never stops. You want something. You fight for it. You get it. And then, the will has already prepared the next desire. There's always a next one. There's always something new missing. There's always one more step. And you go back to running, fighting, seeking. It's like climbing a staircase that never ends. Each step promises you the top is near. But when you climb and look up, you see there are more steps. And more. And more. And the top never comes. Because there never was a top. The staircase was made to never end. It was built to keep you climbing eternally. Think about something you really wanted a few years ago. Remember the force of it? Remember how it seemed like your life would completely change when you got it? Remember how you thought about it every day? How you planned every detail? How you imagined the feeling of finally having it? And you got it. And did anything change? For a while, maybe. You felt joy. You felt pride. You felt it was worth it. But soon it returned. The feeling that something is still missing. That you still need more. That it wasn't enough after all. And then comes another desire, another goal, another promise that this time will be different, that this time you'll finally be satisfied, that this time you'll finally get there. But it's never different. Because the problem isn't in what you achieve. The problem isn't in the object of desire. It's in the very act of desiring. Desire is a bottomless pit. You throw things into it and it never fills, never satisfies, never stops asking for more. And the more you throw in, the deeper it gets. Wider, more demanding, more voracious. It's its nature. It doesn't want to be satisfied. It wants to keep existing. And for that, it needs you to remain dissatisfied. It needs you to keep feeling lack. Because without lack, it dies. And it doesn't want to die. So it creates new lacks. Always. And you notice this in the small things of everyday life. You buy new clothes and you're happy for a day. Then they become just another piece of clothing in the closet. You change your phone and you're excited for a week. Then it becomes just another object you carry. You start a relationship and the first months seem magical. Then it becomes routine. You get a promotion and celebrate for a few days. Then the new position becomes just another job. Novelty always loses its charm. The extraordinary always becomes ordinary. The special always becomes common. And you go back to feeling lack of something new, something different. Something that promises to fill what can never be filled. It's as if there's an automatic normalization process happening all the time. Your brain wasn't made to appreciate what you have. It was made to seek what you don't have, because seeking keeps you alive. Appreciating makes you still, and life doesn't tolerate you being still. So it made your brain in a specific way. It adapts quickly to what is good and remains highly sensitive to what is bad. You lose something and suffer intensely for weeks. You gain something and get used to it in days. It's a cruel design, but efficient, because it keeps you always in motion, always dissatisfied, always seeking, and that ensures you don't give up, that you don't stop, that you keep playing the game until your last breath. And when you finally achieve something big, something you waited for a long time, what happens? You feel a brief joy, a relief, a pause in the exhaustion, but it doesn't last. In a short time, what seemed so important, so essential, so unique, becomes normal, becomes routine. The new job you wanted so much becomes just another job. The relationship that seemed perfect becomes just another relationship. The achievement that was going to change everything becomes just another thing you have. The brain adapts. It gets used to it. It normalizes, and then dissatisfaction returns. Not because you're ungrateful, not because you don't know how to value things, but because satisfaction was never made to last. It was made to be a brief rest between one desire and another. A quick breath before running again. Schopenhauer says that happiness isn't the opposite of suffering. Happiness is just the temporary absence of pain. It's like an anesthetic that wears off. When you're very hungry and finally eat, you feel pleasure. But it's not that eating is wonderful in itself. It's just that the pain stopped. For a moment, the lack stopped. And that gives you relief, a rest, a pause in the constant war against dissatisfaction. But soon hunger returns, or thirst, or something else. Pain always returns, maybe with another name, maybe with another face, but it returns, always returns. And this explains why moments of greatest joy are so brief, why you can't hold on to happiness for long, why it escapes between your fingers like water, because it was never made to be permanent. It's just the temporary relief from pain. It's just the pause between one suffering and another. And when pain isn't present, when you're not feeling lack of anything specific, what appears in its place? It's not peace. It's not lasting joy. It's boredom. It's emptiness. It's the strange feeling that something is missing, even without knowing what. And there's something worse than painful desire. There's emptiness. When you don't want anything, when you don't have anywhere to put your energy, when you don't have a clear goal, what's left? Boredom. Emptiness. A strange feeling that nothing matters, that everything is useless, that life has no appeal. Schopenhauer says life oscillates between two painful extremes, pain and boredom. When you don't have what you want, you suffer from lack. When you have everything you want, you suffer from emptiness. There's no comfortable middle ground. There's no place of lasting peace. There's only the alternation between the two types of pain. You jump from one side to the other, eternally, without ever finding a place of true rest. And the worst part is that emptiness is unbearable for most people, because it forces you to look inward. It forces you to be alone with yourself. And in there, there's nothing special. Just the realization that you're a body full of impulses with no clear meaning. That life doesn't have an obvious purpose. That you're here, alive, breathing, but you don't really know why. And this hurts in a different way. It's not the pain of wanting and not having. It's the pain of not wanting anything, of realizing everything is empty, that nothing really fills you, that even when you have everything, something fundamental is still missing that you can't name. And emptiness shows you something you spend your whole life running from, the truth that maybe there's nothing solid at the center of your existence. That maybe you're just a set of desires in motion, and when they stop, nothing is left. There's no fixed I, there's no clear identity, there's no evident purpose. Only silence is left, and silence is deafening, it's frightening, it's unbearable, because silence reveals the nakedness of existence. It removes all disguises, all invented purposes, all comforting stories, and leaves you face to face with pure emptiness, with the absence of inherent meaning, with the reality that you're here, alive, breathing, but with no clear reason to be. And that's terrifying. It's more terrifying than any monster, because you can run from a monster, but you can't run from the emptiness inside you. It's always there, waiting, every time you stop, every time you have nothing to do, every time you achieve everything you wanted and realize something fundamental is still missing. The emptiness is there, quiet, patient, inevitable. So what do? We invent purposes, we create goals, we pretend it really matters. And in a way, it does matter, because it takes you out of the emptiness. It gives you something to do, something to feel, something to chase. But deep down, if you're honest, you know you're running. You know you're filling a hole with things that won't hold for long. But you prefer that to silence, because silence reveals the truth, and the truth hurts too much. The truth is there's no clear purpose. There's no obvious meaning. There's no evident reason for you to be here. You just are, and you need to deal with that. And the way most people find to deal with it is to invent meanings, create goals, seek achievements, accumulate things, anything, to avoid having to look at the emptiness head on. The will is smart. It doesn't arrive and say, "Hi, it's me, controlling you." No, it disguises itself. It uses your identity, your dreams, your values, your fears. It makes you believe it's really yours, that you chose it, that it has deep meaning, and it may have some meaning. But deep down, it's still the will using you. It's still desire moving you like a puppet. You just painted it with pretty colors, just gave it a pretty name, just created a comforting story. But it's still the same thing, you being pushed by a force you don't control. And the will is so smart that it hides inside the things you value most. It hides in your love for family, in your desire to grow professionally, in your will to be a better person. It takes everything that's important to you and uses it as fuel. And you don't even notice. You think you're acting out of love, out of healthy ambition, out of personal growth. But deep down, it's just the will moving you. It's just desire pushing you. It's just life wanting to continue through you. And this doesn't mean these things aren't important. It doesn't mean love isn't real. It doesn't mean growing isn't worthwhile. It just means all of this is happening within a larger structure you don't control. All of this is expression of the will. And knowing this doesn't take away the value of things. It just takes away the illusion that you're completely in control. It just takes away the fantasy that you're free. It just shows the naked reality. You're an instrument of life, and life is playing you like a violin. And then comes the hardest question of all. Who are you without desire? If you take away everything you want, everything you seek, everything that moves you, what's left? Who are you when you're not chasing anything? The answer is uncomfortable, frightening even. Almost nothing is left, because you're made of desires. Your identity is built on top of what you want and what you avoid. Take that away, and you crumble. What's left is just a body breathing, without direction, without meaning, without purpose. What's left is just a confused animal that forgot what it is. Life doesn't want you happy, it wants you alive. And to keep you alive, it uses dissatisfaction as an engine, as fuel. It makes you feel that something is always missing, that you need more, that the next step will finally solve everything, and you believe it, because the alternative is accepting it will never be solved, that it will never be solved, and that's too hard to accept. It's easier to keep believing the next job will be better, that the next relationship will be happier, that the next achievement will finally fill the void. It's easier to keep playing the game than to admit the game has no end. And life is efficient at this. It doesn't want you stopped. It doesn't want you at peace. It wants you in motion. It wants you procreating, working, building, destroying, rebuilding, always in action. And the way it found to do this was to give you infinite desires and temporary satisfactions. It programmed you to never be completely satisfied, to always want a little more, to always feel something is missing. And it works. You look around and see everyone running, everyone seeking, everyone trying to fill something that can never be completely filled. Schopenhauer wasn't being cruel when he said these things. He was being honest, brutally honest. He looked at life without filter, without romanticism, without illusions, and saw what everyone feels but doesn't want to admit. We're never satisfied. No matter how much we have, no matter how much we achieve, no matter how many things we accumulate or how many goals we reach, something will always be missing. There will always be a next desire waiting in line. There will always be an emptiness waiting on the other side of achievement. And pretending it's not like this is deceiving yourself. It's living in a comfortable illusion that crumbles every time you stop to really think. And this explains a lot about human behavior. It explains why rich people keep chasing more money, why famous people keep seeking more attention and recognition, why you achieve something you wanted a lot, and soon you're already thinking about the next one. It's not healthy ambition. It's not pure greed. It's the will functioning. It's desire dragging you. It's life keeping you in constant motion, without real rest. It's the invisible structure of existence, always pushing you forward, always to the next, always to more. And you see this everywhere when you start paying attention. The billionaire who keeps working 12 hours a day. Why? He already has enough money for 1,000 lives. But he continues, because it's not about the money. It's about the search. It's about having a goal. It's about running from the emptiness that would appear if he stopped. The celebrity who already has millions of followers but remains obsessed with the numbers. Why? Because recognition is never enough. Because external validation never fills the internal hole. You, who finally got that car you always wanted, and 3 months later, you're already looking at better models. Why? Because the car was never the point. The point is having something to desire, something to seek, something that keeps you moving. And when you get it, you need to quickly find something else. Otherwise, the emptiness appears. And emptiness is unbearable. And this also explains why so many people are exhausted, why so many people feel like they're running on an infinite treadmill, why so many people work so hard and still feel it's not enough, because it will never be enough. Complete satisfaction doesn't exist. It's not part of life's design. Life was made to keep you in motion. And you can run faster. You can achieve more things. You can accumulate more success. But the feeling of lack will never completely go away. It just changes form, just finds new places to hurt. Have you noticed that you love the chase more than the catch? That the good part is running after it, not having it. That when you finally get something, the fun ends quickly. The relationship you wanted so much becomes routine in a few months. The job that seemed perfect becomes a tiring obligation. The achievement that seemed to change everything becomes forgotten past. And then you're already looking for something else to desire. Because desiring is more exciting than having. Because the search is more alive than possession. Because the promise of the future is always brighter than the reality of the present. And that's strange, isn't it? It's strange to realize you love the idea of the thing more than the thing itself. That you love the path more than the destination. That you love the dream more than the realization. Because in the dream, everything is perfect. In the dream, there's no defect. In the dream, there's no disillusionment. But in reality, there is. In reality, things are never exactly as you imagined. In reality, there's always some imperfection, some disappointment, some detail that doesn't match what you expected. And the worst part is you know this. You've lived this dozens of times. You've already had the experience of getting something you wanted a lot and discovering it wasn't all that. But still you continue. You keep believing the next time will be different, that the next desire is the right one, that the next achievement will finally satisfy you. And you know, deep down, it won't. But you prefer to believe the illusion. You prefer to keep hope alive. Because without it, what's left? The raw perception that you're stuck in a cycle with no way out, that there's no solution, that you'll die dissatisfied no matter how much you achieve. And that's too heavy to consciously carry all the time. So you pretend you don't know. You keep the illusion alive. You keep playing the game as if this time were different. And the search is exciting because it keeps the promise alive. It keeps hope burning. It keeps you projected into the future, where everything is still possible, where complete satisfaction can still happen. But when you get there, when you finally achieve it, the promise dies. And you realize it wasn't all that it didn't solve everything, that you're still you, that the same internal problems are still there, that the same dissatisfaction is still present, just with different clothes. And there's hope. Ah, hope. Schopenhauer says it's the most elegant form of pain, the most subtle, the most cruel too, because hoping is admitting you don't have. It's living in the future, never in the present. It's placing your peace, your joy, your sense of life in something that doesn't yet exist and may never exist. But you hope, because without hope, what's left? The present. And the present is never enough. It's never good enough. It's never complete enough for you to feel everything is okay. Hope is cruel because it keeps you trapped in the future. It prevents you from being here, now, in this moment. It makes you believe that the good life is coming. It's right there. It's just a few steps away. You just need to get that. You just need to reach that. You just need to achieve that. And then you can rest. Then you can be happy. Then you'll finally be at peace. But it's a lie. Because when you get there, hope has already created a new future, a new goal, a new promise. And you remain trapped. You keep postponing peace. You keep waiting for something that never truly arrives. And hope works like a perfect drug. It gives you just enough relief to keep you going. It shows you a light at the end of the tunnel that keeps you walking. But the tunnel never ends. With each step you take, the end moves away at the same speed. And you don't notice because you're focused on the light. You're focused on the promise. You're focused on the after. And you forget that the only real moment you have is now. This second. This breath. And this second never seems good enough. Because you're always half absent. Always half in the future. Always waiting for something better to come. And while you wait, life passes. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. Months turn into years. And you keep waiting. You keep postponing. You keep living in a future that never materializes as you imagined. And hope is elegant because it doesn't look like pain. It seems positive. It seems like motivation. It seems like something good. Society even celebrates hope. It teaches you to have hope. It tells you hope is important, that you can't give up, that you need to keep dreaming. And maybe that's necessary to survive. But it doesn't change the fact that hope is disguised pain. It's the pain of not having what you want. It's the pain of always living in the after. It's the pain of never being satisfied with the now. And if you're enjoying this content, maybe you'll also like our exclusive material that's in the first pinned comment. We live projected into the after, always in the next month, the next year, the next achievement, the next relationship. The now is never enough. There's always something missing in the present moment, something that, if you get it in the future, will finally bring the peace you're looking for. But it doesn't. It never does. Because when the after becomes now, it loses its shine. It becomes common. It becomes present. And the present is never enough. So, you're already in the future again, waiting for something else, projecting another happiness, believing in another promise, and the cycle continues, eternally, and you spend your whole life like this, postponing, waiting, believing the good is still coming, that peace is still coming, that satisfaction is still coming, And it never fully arrives. It visits for a few moments. It appears in brief flashes, but it doesn't stay, because it wasn't made to stay. It was made to be a carrot dangling in front of the horse, to keep you running, to keep you waiting, to keep you alive. And this creates a strange relationship with time. You're never really here. You're always half in the future, half in the past, never completely in the present. And the present is the only thing you really have. The past is gone. The future doesn't exist yet. Only now exists. But you can't stay here. Because here hurts. Because here is incomplete. Because here is not enough. So you flee to the future. You flee to hope. You flee to the promise that it will get better. And you lose the only moment that's real. And silence is unbearable for those who live on desire. Because in silence, you meet yourself, and the meeting isn't beautiful. It's not comforting. It's empty. It's the clear perception that you're alone with your thoughts, and your thoughts never stop. They spin, they complain, they compare you to others. They want more. They always want more. And you realize you can't turn this off, that the mind is a desire machine that never rests, that never stops producing lacks, that never stops creating new forms of dissatisfaction. So you flee from silence. You turn on music, you grab your phone, you open social media, you turn on the TV, you dive into work, you schedule appointments, you fill every second of the day with something, anything to not be alone with yourself, because you're afraid of what you'll find in there. You're afraid of the emptiness. You're afraid of realizing you don't know what you really want, that you only know you want something, that something is missing, always missing. And looking at this head-on is too painful. And modern society has made fleeing from silence easier than ever. You have infinite distractions in the palm of your hand. You have infinite content to consume. You have infinite people to follow. You have constant notifications pulling you out of yourself. And you accept this with gratitude. Because being alone with your thoughts is unbearable. Because silence reveals things you don't want to see. Because quietness shows the emptiness you spend your whole life trying to fill. And modern technology isn't accidental. It was specifically designed to exploit this need you have to flee. Each notification is a small dose of relief from emptiness. Each infinite scroll is a way to not have to think. Each short video is a way to occupy the mind without demanding deep reflection. And it works perfectly. You grab your phone without even noticing. It's automatic. It's a reflex. You feel the slightest sign of boredom, of emptiness, of silence, and you already have your phone in hand, filling the space, fleeing from yourself. And companies know this. They build addictive products not because they're evil, but because they understood something fundamental about human nature. You can't stand being alone with yourself. You need constant distraction. And they offer exactly that, in infinite doses, perfectly calibrated to keep you always wanting a little more, always fleeing from silence, always avoiding the meeting with the emptiness that lives at the center of your existence. And this is perhaps the hardest truth of all. We don't know what we really want. We just know we want. Desire is vague, imprecise, anxious, undefined. You feel lack, but you don't know exactly of what. So you try things, you test, you search in various places, you experiment with various paths, and nothing truly fills you, because the lack has no clear form. It's just a hole, an emptiness with no defined contour, and you spend your whole life trying to plug a hole that has no bottom, that has no form. That can't be filled because it's the very nature of your existence. You say you want money, but when you get it, you realize that wasn't it. You say you want recognition, but when you have it, you realize it doesn't fill you. You say you want love, but when you find it, you realize something is still missing. You say you want peace, but when you have moments of peace, boredom appears. You don't know what you want. You just know you want. And that's the nature of desire. It has no clear object. It's just a feeling of lack, a feeling of incompleteness, a feeling that something is wrong. And you spend your whole life trying to fix this, trying to fill this, trying to solve this, but there's no solution, because the problem isn't outside, it's in the very structure of your existence. And this discovery is both liberating and imprisoning. Liberating because you finally understand it's not your fault, that there's nothing specifically wrong with you, that everyone feels this, that it's universal, that it's part of being alive. But imprisoning because it means there's no easy escape, that there's no product to buy that solves it, that there's no place to go where everything becomes okay, that there's no person to meet who completely fills you, that the emptiness is structural, it's part of the design, and you'll carry it until your last day. It can diminish, you can learn to live with it better, but it won't completely disappear, because it is you, it's the human condition. It's the price of being conscious in an existence that has no clear purpose, and the more you desire, the more dependent you become on desire. Desire is like an addiction, a subtle but powerful addiction. The more you feed it, the more it asks for, the more it demands. You become addicted to wanting, to seeking, to waiting, to dreaming about the next thing. And when you don't have anything to want, you go into crisis, because you don't know who you are anymore without desire. It became your identity. It became your engine. It became the meaning of your life. Take it away and you stop functioning. Take it away and you collapse. Because you built your entire existence on top of the act of desiring. And without it, you don't know what to do anymore. You don't know who to be anymore. And this dependence on desire is dangerous because it keeps you trapped in a cycle that never ends. It makes you believe the next achievement will finally solve everything, that the next goal will finally satisfy you, that the next thing will finally fill the void. But it won't. It never will. And yet you continue because you don't know how to do anything else, because your whole life taught you to desire, to seek, to want more. And stopping desiring seems like stopping living, seems like giving up, seems like dying while alive. Schopenhauer saw all this with frightening clarity, and he doesn't offer a magic solution. He doesn't say there's a way to be happy forever. He doesn't promise a secret formula to end suffering, because there isn't one. Life is like this. It's desire, pain, brief relief, and desire again. It's an eternal cycle, and you've been trapped in it since you were born. You'll be trapped in it until you die. And pretending there's a complete way out is deceiving yourself. It's selling illusion. And Schopenhauer doesn't sell illusion. He just shows naked reality. But there's a small way out. Not a complete way out. Not a definitive solution, but something. Schopenhauer says the only possible rebellion is consciousness. It's you perceiving the game, perceiving that desire controls you, perceiving that the will uses you as a tool. And in this simple perception, something changes. It doesn't change everything. It doesn't completely free you, but it changes something important. It changes how you relate to desire. It changes how you respond to dissatisfaction. It changes how you live. You don't stop desiring. That's impossible while you're alive. But you stop being a blind slave to desire. You stop following every impulse without questioning. You stop believing the next achievement will finally satisfy you. You look at what you want and ask, is this really mine? Or is it just the will pushing me again? You feel the lack and ask, do I need to fill this now? Or can I just observe and let it pass? You see desire emerge and, instead of automatically running after it, you stop. You breathe, you observe, and you choose. Not always, not perfectly, but sometimes. It's not about denying desire. It's not about repressing or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about not completely identifying with it. It's about creating a small space between you and the impulse, a space where you breathe, where you observe, where you choose, even if just a little, even if it's difficult, even if desire keeps screaming. This small space is everything. It's the only possible freedom. It's the only place where you really exist as something beyond an instrument of the will. And there's art. There's contemplation. Schopenhauer thought art was a rare pause in the cycle of desire, a moment where the will silences for a few seconds. When you really look at a painting, when you listen to music with total attention, when you read a book and dive into it completely, for a few seconds you forget yourself. You forget desire. You forget lack. You forget the future. And you only exist in that moment. It's brief, it's fragile, it's rare, but it's real. And in these moments you feel something that's neither joy nor sadness. It's just presence. It's just pure existence without desire. And it's liberating. It's not a definitive solution. It doesn't solve life's problem, but it's temporary relief. And maybe that's the most we can get while we're alive. Small moments of pause. Small breaths between one desire and another. Small pauses in the endless cycle. And knowing it's like this, that it will always be like this, that there's no way to completely escape. And that's okay. That it's okay not to be satisfied, because everyone is in the same boat. Everyone wants, everyone suffers, everyone seeks something that never fully arrives. The difference is now you know this consciously. Desire is neither your enemy nor your friend. It's just a blind, constant, impersonal force. You can fight it your whole life, or you can learn to dance knowing the steps. Not as a slave, but as someone who sees the game and chooses how to respond within what's possible. Schopenhauer wasn't optimistic. He didn't paint life with pretty colors, but he was profoundly honest. And this brutal honesty can be the beginning of a different relationship with life. Not a happy life in the common sense, but a conscious life, where you see the prison clearly and it loses some of its power, where you stop pretending. And now the question stays with you. What do you do with this knowledge? You'll desire until your last day. You'll suffer, you'll seek, you'll be disappointed, and you'll continue, because that's what it means to be alive. There's no final destination. There's no eternal satisfaction. There's only the movement, the cycle, the infinite dance, and within it, small moments that feel like freedom.